Okay, we're just one short of the list, so I think we'll go ahead and get going. Good evening, everybody. Thank you for taking the time to join us tonight. My name is Matt Huff, landscape architect and planner with Kinley Horn, and I'm part of the team working on Brookwood Flats. We appreciate you being here and value the opportunity to walk you through what we're thinking, why we're considering changes, and most importantly, to get some feedback from you all. We know conversations about development can raise questions and concerns. Tonight is not a sales pitch. It's meant to be kind of an open, respectful conversation that's focused on transparency about what's happening here and just listening to one another. So I want to start with some introductions and explain why we're here. Our broader team includes the Franklin Housing Authority, Elmington Capital Group, Kinley Horn, and 906 Studio Architects. Each partner plays a different role, from ownership to long-term stewardship to planning, engineering, and design. Our purpose tonight is simple: to share the vision of Brookwood Flats, explain what's changing, why it's changing, and hear directly from you. At this point, I'd like to introduce Derwin Jackson with the Franklin Housing Authority, who owns the property and sets the long-term direction. He's going to speak about FHA's role in the broader housing context in Franklin. Derwin?
Well, good evening, everybody, and welcome to everybody and to all our partners and to the community that we're here to serve. Just a brief. We started this endeavor in redeveloping all public housing properties back in 2008. At that time, we came up with a master plan of how we're going to just revamp the community, to change it, to help make housing still keep it affordable, and also to upgrade and make it more safe, keep it safe. And so we started this process back then, and and now here we are in the process. We started out with about 297 public housing units, and now when we finish this whole project process, we hopefully will be up probably around 550. And so we're at the last phase of what we've already done in the community, what we've already rehabbed or tore down and built new. So this is the last phase of this project that we started back in 2008, and what we've always done and will continue to do with this last project is try to make sure we blend in with the community. We also want to continue to provide affordable housing, and to try to meet some of the needs that's now in affordable housing, plus what we see in some of the studies, what's going to be happening in the future of the need for affordable housing. So we're just here trying to meet just a small portion of that need, and so this is the final project on our housing redevelopment that we have left, and so we welcome the input of how do we continue to make it better, to make sure that our main goal has always been to make our properties uh, safe, and provide the housing that, because again our target families are working families in this community. There are teachers in the healthcare. There are every spectrum of workers that we have in this city. We're able to provide housing, but on a little bit of what we do. So our partners tonight is going to try to go through our plans and understand this is a conceptual plan. It's not a final thing, but we are starting the process that we can come up with a product that's gonna, as we've done in the past, continue to fit in with the city and meet the needs of those we're trying to serve. So I'm gonna stop right there and let the partners speak for the rest.
Thank you, Derwin. So to understand why projects like Brookwood Flats are being discussed, it helps to zoom out and look at the broader housing picture in Franklin. Uh, the Bowen Housing Study, which was commissioned by the City of Franklin and completed in 2025, shows how we continue to grow, with more than 3,500 new homes projected by 2030 and roughly 10,000 housing units needed in the next 5 years. Many people who work here, as Derwin mentioned, teachers, healthcare workers, service employees, simply can't afford to live in the community that they serve today. More than 10,000 households are already considered cost burden, meaning that they spend too much of their income on housing. And even the existing attainable housing that's out there today is fully occupied and often has long wait lists. These numbers, they're not just statistics, they represent real families already living and working in our community. Brookwood Flats is not a standalone idea. Of course, as Terwin also mentioned, it fits within the Franklin Housing Authority's Master Housing Action Plan. And that plan was originally approved in 2010 and updated in 2019 to reflect the changing needs. More recently, updates to Brookwood and nearby Short Court site along Natchez Street were approved by the FHA board in March of 2026. And those updates focus on reinvesting in aging properties while continuing to serve residents and staying consistent with adopting city plans. Let's take a closer look at where we're talking about exactly. Brookwood Flats is surrounded by established neighborhoods and civic uses, including Williamson County Administrative Complex and the Health Department. This slide helps orient everyone to the surrounding streets, Edgewood Boulevard, Westmead, and Brookwood Avenue specifically. It's important to note that this is an infill site. We're talking about improving an existing development, not expanding into the surrounding neighborhoods. From a planning standpoint, the site is currently zoned planned development. That doesn't mean fewer rules. It means the city reviews this project as a whole, looking closely at layout, traffic, building placement, landscaping, and how it fits within the surroundings. In Envision Franklin, the area is designated as mixed residential with a special consideration for Franklin Housing Authority properties. Excuse me. The site's also within the Central Franklin overlay, which brings an added layer of design review and kind of ensures compatibility with surrounding neighborhoods as well. So that's a good thing here. Brookwood Flats today is a 34-unit community originally built in the 1960s. It provided attainable housing for decades, but the buildings and infrastructure are aging. The layout's dated and amenities are limited, and there are traffic and visibility challenges, particularly at the intersections. There are also mature trees on the site, which are currently being evaluated closely for preservation where possible as part of the design process. So I want to spend a little extra time on this slide, obviously, because it's a slide that really ties everything together. This is the conceptual master plan for the entire Brookwood Flats site. Rather than fixing individual buildings piece by piece, the idea is to step back and look holistically at how the site functions. How do people move through it? How do people relate, the buildings relate to one another? And how does it connect to the surrounding neighborhoods? The existing buildings are replaced with new 2 to 3 story buildings that are intentionally arranged to create open green space in the middle of the site rather than pushing everything kind of to the edges. And this internal green space helps with light, visibility, and more neighborhood scale feel. You'll also notice clearer pedestrian paths and more organized internal circulation. That's meant to improve safety and make the site easier to navigate for both residents and visitors. Parking on the plan is consolidated and screened rather than being scattered, and landscaping plays a big role in softening views and transitioning between buildings. The goal is not just new buildings here, but it's a site that functions better day to day and feels like a cohesive residential community. What you're seeing here are perspective views of how Brookwood Flats is intended to look once redeveloped, from street, from within the site, and around the parking areas. Along the public streets, the buildings are designed to feel very residential in scale. You'll notice that elements like front porches, articulated facades, and pitched roofs, features that are common in Franklin neighborhoods and help the buildings feel approachable rather than institutional. The 3-story buildings are generally oriented toward the interior of the site, framed by open green space and existing or replacement trees, which helps soften views from the nearby homes. Materials and colors are shown in a muted traditional palette to ensure the development feels like it belongs here long term. Now, these renderings are conceptual. They're meant to show character, scale, and how the buildings relate to their surroundings. As the project moves through the city's review process, details will continue to be refined. That'll be under the guidance of staff and, of course, elected officials at the BOMA meetings. We believe that investing in Brookwood Flats brings several community benefits: higher quality housing, better use of already developed land, improved landscaping with tree replacement, and the opportunity to serve more residents without pushing growth into new areas. From a neighborhood perspective, this also means a cleaner site, safer internal circulation, and buildings designed to the modern standards. To wrap up our formal presentation, this is the anticipated timeline. Tonight's neighborhood meeting is really the first step in the process. From here, the project moves through initial and resubmittals, planning commission review, and multiple readings before the Board of Mayor and Aldermen. No final decisions are being made here tonight. There will be several public meetings and additional opportunities for input as the project moves forward. Thank you all for your time this evening. And now we're going to open it up to questions, comments, and feedback. We will do our best to answer everything we can tonight, but if we don't have an answer, we will let you know that, and we will follow up on that question. Again, we're here to listen. We want to hear your input. It matters to us, and it matters as this project continues to take shape. So thank you all, and feel free to unmute yourself to ask a question. I'll also take a look in the chat, and if anything comes up there, I will do my best to answer that as well.
I would like to know where the residents that live in the older public housing now in that area are going to be moved to.
Derwin, would you care to speak to that?
Yes, they are being moved to other developments we just finished up at Cherokee and Shawnee. They've been moved there, or to other properties that we already had. There's some that are going to be moved to Franklin Flats, another development that we're partnering with Edmonton on to that's being completed at this time. So nobody, part of the federal law, nobody is ever displaced without having a place to go. And so has been moved to other sites that we own, or just have already just recently developed, made new. So all the residents right now, there may be out of that one site, Brookwood, we may have out of 38 units, it may be only 3 or 4 or 5 or 6 families still left there that are waiting to be moved to sites that we're now still completing. So everybody's going to be placed in another affordable home, uh, so no one is being put out.
Okay. And when is the project that's on, I believe it's Chickasaw that ends on North Petway going to be completed? Or has it
Which
been already?
which one? Which one you're talking about now?
The one on Chickasaw that ends, I believe it's Chickasaw, it ends right at North Petway. Like
Yeah,
going into the park. Is that
yeah,
complete
yeah.
on that side?
All of those are completed. That Cherokee and the Shawnee on Shawnee, we just finished those on Shawnee a couple of months ago. Was totally completed. So all those in that area, Cherokee, Shawnee, and the senior building, Chickasaw, all of those are completed. And some of those residents were moved from this Brookwood area, were moved into those units.
Okay, thank you.
Okay.
We've got a question in the chat. How many parking spots are there? Is this a park planned for there? And if so, where will it be? There are roughly 280 parking spaces required here and proposed here. And there are amenities throughout the site. There is kind of a park area out front in front of the L-shaped buildings. There in between the buildings and the Williamson County Administrative Complex. That is open space required by the city, and provided we are exceeding the open space requirements of the city. And then when would this start, and how long would construction start? So we're still, as I mentioned in the presentation, we are very early in the process, and Franklin notoriously are it's a hard process to get through, and there can be delays. But generally, entitlements take roughly 9 to 12 months, and uh, going through construction documents maybe 6 to 9 months after that. We're probably looking at a year and a half out before construction really gets going. If this were to all move as planned, maybe a little faster, or if there are delays, maybe a little slower. But this is not something that's happening tomorrow. There are a lot of checkpoints to hit before we get to construction. Another question about traffic pattern during construction. We are a little too early to know that at this point. Traffic is being considered and being reviewed by the city. The city engineers review the traffic study, and also a third party will review the traffic and make recommendations. And we'll lean on that as we receive them. And that will likely include stuff that will traffic patterning during construction.
I couldn't tell from the renderings, is each unit considered a townhome since it's, I guess, opening to the public sidewalk? Or do they function more as apartments where you're having to take a corridor or stairs to get to the upper level?
You broke up a little bit there, but I think you're asked if they're townhomes or condos essentially, or like
Yeah,
apartment
just
styles.
curious, like since they're 3 stories, does one townhome span all 3 stories, or are you taking a stairway to get to a unit on the second or third
Gotcha.
floor?
So yeah, it's a little different. The buildings on the north side, I think they in LC, if you're on the call, or Ben, Miss Kelly, if I speak out of turn here, let me know. I think the ones up here operate a little bit more like townhomes, and the ones on the south side of Edgewood are more like that apartment style with internal hallways.
That's correct. The building to the north is a little different. It does have some access to the street as far as a townhome style building would be, but the buildings to the south that are 3 stories are traditional interior corridor apartments.
With elevators, I'm assuming, for the older residents?
Did you ask
That,
were you ask about elevators?
Yeah, that was my question, just because I know the demographic Franklin housing often has mobility challenges.
My assumption is that they will have them, but again, as early as we are in the process, that's not been determined at this point. But yeah, I think that's likely.
Just one more question. I know different grants and funds that you get to build these units at different areas. Affordable rent has different definitions. What do you project affordable rents being in this new area?
Derwin, do you want to speak to that? I'd
I was
probably
gonna
have.
I was gonna jump in here too. I'm happy to. This is Elsie Wallace. I'm with Elmington Capital Group as well. And Derwin, please jump in as well.
Okay.
If you would like to speak to the rents, I'm happy to as well.
Yeah, go ahead, LC.
So we are projecting these rents as 60% of the area median income for this specific for this county. So they would fall in line with Williamson County's 60% AMI is what we deem that, which these fall in line with. It's $1,280 a unit for the 1 bedrooms, up to $1,900 a unit for the 4 bedrooms. So happy to provide the specifics of all of those, but currently we're underwriting 1, 2, 3, and 4 bedroom units in these buildings, and so those would be the rents, and they are HUD determined rents. So at the federal level, and we utilize income averaging as well to capture lower rents than that, and then slightly higher rents than that as well.
And we will also have some other subsidy with vouchers on some of the units. So that would make them even more affordable for some that may even be down into the 30% area medium to be able to also afford some of these units. So we're trying to, especially with this particular development, maybe more so with some of our others, we're also trying to not continue to meet those on the low income end, but also try to try to meet some of those that are in the middle that can afford some of the other higher end departments that are in Franklin. So we're trying to also be able to meet some of those families that are in the middle that sometimes get left out. So we feel with this project, we're going to be able to meet a lot of those families that are in the middle.
Thank you.
Thanks for your question, Linda, and everybody else.
I had one more question. So
Yeah, go ahead.
why the change from the original plan? Because I know the original plan had more townhomes, I think. But I'd just be curious why the change. Thank you.
Well, I guess I'll try to. Well, I'm not sure which original plan, but our first conceptual plans when we started in 2008 was really just that conceptual plan of what we knew was always going to involve in other things. Because I would tell you, in those first early conceptual drawings, we didn't have two senior buildings in those plans that we later put in two senior buildings that we did address our senior population directly. So I would just say plans just they evolve over time, and we look at what the needs are, and then look at how many units can we then look at trying to get so we can provide more housing, but still keep it where we're addressing the neighborhood, and we stand in intact with the neighborhood, as well as trying to continue to house affordable housing for as many families as we possibly can, without and staying within the city. I would say this: I've been here 18 years, and working with the city. I'm not saying it's always easy, because it's not, but definitely they have worked with us, the Boma and the mayor and the county and the city, to make sure that we provide a product, and we want to, that's gonna be fit in with this city, as well as be able to house as many people that we know that need it. We have a wait list. I know we cut it off. We just, I was probably 300 to 400 people on that wait list, and that's because we just shut it off, because we know we try to start trying to meet the needs of those 300 or 400. We probably, if we left the wait list open, it'd probably be well over 1,000, 1,500 people by now. So part of it is, how can we do density, but still build something that's gonna be affordable, build something that's gonna be safe, and build something that's gonna fit in with what the city wants it to look like. And so that's kind of why our plans have always evolved from the original concept that we had a little bit. If nothing else, it has a little bit.
Thank you. That's
Maybe
very
that's a little.
helpful.
On the concept plan, there is street parking on Edgewood. That street is not especially wide, and I would think that would be difficult given the amount of parking interior. Do you really need street parking?
Yeah, that's something that we've been working with city staff on. We need, not necessarily, but it's something that there's going to be right of way dedication there. It's also kind of a traffic calming thing that helps with that, with safety. And it's something that city engineering likes to see. They've actually requested that we place it on Westmead and Brookwood Avenue as well. We've not committed to that yet. It's kind of an ongoing conversation. But we, like with any development, we're working with the city on this and trying to achieve something that, or trying to come up with a plan that achieves everyone's goals. So where that will evolve to over the next 6 months, I can't say with certainty, but that is kind of a joint conversation between the developer and development team and the city. So that's kind of where that has come from.
Okay, thank you.
Sure. Okay. I'm not seeing any more questions in the chat. If there are no more, we can call this one early. But I appreciate everyone's time again, and we've taken note of your feedback. And the meeting has been recorded and will be submitted to the city staff, so that this meeting it's so that they know this meeting has happened and they have your feedback as well. So thanks again, and I hope everybody has a great evening.
Thank you, everybody.